Have you ever heard of a global midlife crisis? Well, maybe not, but if you take a moment to look around, you can easily see that we are currently living in one, and right now, America needs sports as an escape more than ever. Today I'm going to talk to you about the media interpretations of how the National Football League is planning to continue their season without an extensive outbreak of COVID-19. Even if football interests you the least bit, you can still take away tips on how to stay safe and prevent the spread of the virus. It is also good to stay informed on how large organizations are going about these uncharted waters. I have gathered information from 5 credible and factual sources that explain the NFL's plan of action against the virus and how well it is working so far. Although on the brink of collapse, the NFL has put in little effort so far to promote safety against COVID. As of now, the NFL refuses to enter into a bubble phase and will thus continue in their plan to finish the season despite certain disagreements from the media. The current situation of the NFL, which has been identified by many newspapers, is one that is alarming to many. According to the Associated Press from a Fox News article, the NFL has not put in nearly amount of effort into preventing COVID cases or disciplining teams for not following the rules. They also stated that they will not move into a bubble. With administering more than 500,000 tests, the NFL has been lucky with only a positivity rate of less than 1%. On September 29th, the Tennessee Titans had 8 people test positive. It does not seem like the league would discipline the team for careless behavior, but the 2020 MSN article states that they were fined $350,000 for not adhering to protocols. The NFL has no plan to isolate the organization and move into a bubble for the remainder of the season. The league's chief medical officer emphasized how the infection will spread more rapidly if it gets inside the bubble. He also stressed how being isolated can bring about an emotional toll that will cause more problems for players and staff. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell says the league is not looking to discipline teams, but rather looking to keep personnel safe. The NFL staff from one NFL article said he put in place new protocols that require anyone who is identified as high risk close contact to be isolated. In an MSN article by Adam Coleman named NFL COVID-19 positive tests still rising, it states that high risk people are not permitted to return for at least 5 days. While some may care less about the condition of the NFL, some have quite the opinion on what they should do differently for COVID-19. Dr. Joshua Barricos, an opinion contributor for USA Today and an infectious diseases physician and public health researcher at Boston Medical Center, believes the NFL's COVID-19 plan is not working and there needs to be tighter rules to help protect players' profits and society. Players are not required to wear face masks, staff violates mask rules, and locker rooms are breeding areas for COVID. He believes that due to the influence the NFL has on American culture, they could positively influence society into respecting masks and infection prevention. Although an opinion, it rings true because according to a 2020 Fox News article, there are over 19.3 million viewers that tune in and idolize the NFL. They could use their power on society for good. Barricos also believes that the NFL COVID rules need to be tighter. With more than 100 positive cases, it's a matter of time before young, healthy individuals experience life-threatening consequences. Since Barricos is a health worker, most of his opinions are valid and based on facts. Furthermore, games are being played in hotspots for corona, putting people at risk. His opinion is that they need to hold games in non-coronavirus hotspot cities to reduce risk. Dr. Barricos thinks that if the NFL refuses to change their plan for COVID, then they must cancel their season. Players and staff should still receive their full pay and benefits since, as he states, an organization generates more than $16 billion a year can afford it. This is a moment of bias because everyone can have different views on how an organization should spend their money, and Barricos is not afraid to say his. He believes it is not worth it to society to put all the players and staff at risk just to play a sport. According to him, the current plan is unacceptable without changes made. The Fox News article and USA Today opinion piece have similarities and differences, but the best way to analyze these two pieces is to do some fact-checking, which will help find answers. Both the article and opinion piece detail the severity of the corona situation within the NFL. Fox News mainly focuses on the situation in the Tennessee Titans corona outbreak. Meanwhile, the opinion piece from USA Today focuses on the NFL as a whole. They both mention how the NFL will not enter into a bubble stage, which is a fact because that is what Commissioner Goodell said in their 2-hour league meeting. The news article tries to have a more positive outlook on the situation. It includes actual dialogue from the NFL Commissioner Goodell. He states the NFL is trying its best in promoting safety. The opinion article provides biased content that states the NFL is not doing enough. Although being a valid opinion, there are a few inaccuracies in what Dr. Baracos is saying about the situation. If anyone were to know how the fast virus can spread within an organization, it would be a highly educated doctor like him. He states that the rules are not regulated enough, but Sporting News article by Tad Hayslop states the strict protocols that an at-risk player must go through. They must isolate in a room, continue to wear a mask, be transported and quarantined at home ASAP, and game day testing will be starting up. The NFL staff explains in their 2020 article regarding COVID procedures that the NFL is putting forth effort in keeping high-risk players away from the rest of the team. Different articles are saying different things. Most are saying that the NFL is doing the most to protect everyone involved. Meanwhile, the USA Today opinion article thinks the NFL is not doing enough. Overall, the COVID situation in the NFL needs to be closely monitored so games can continue. No outbreaks get out of control. And no outbreaks get out of control. Depending on what news coverage you read, the NFL is either taking plenty of precautions or not doing enough. Some articles view the NFL's COVID plan as unacceptable and dangerous for all who are involved, which others say the NFL is doing a sufficient job. Therefore, it is best to fact-check different articles to be able to create your own views about situations. The NFL is trying its best to finish the season without entering a bubble. Although Baracos believed rules should be stricter, the NFL has evidence of putting in efforts to combat the virus. As facts state, the NFL is working to keep the season going despite backlash from certain media contributors. If the NFL can get a grip on COVID cases and continue to play while abiding by safety regulations, then players, staff, and viewers will benefit from having football as a stress-relieving outlet in this crazy time of life.